There are 8 body language secrets that can make anyone respect you instantly, not because of what you say, but because of how you move, how you stand, and how you make people feel when you look at them. You've seen men who don't speak much, yet the entire room bends to their gravity. You've also seen those who talk endlessly, explaining, defending, pleading, yet somehow they shrink smaller with every word. The difference isn't intelligence, it isn't charm, it's presence. And presence begins before you even speak. Every human being is a walking signal, a broadcast of status, emotion, and intent. People are constantly reading you, measuring your worth without awareness. They observe your hands, your posture, your gaze, the rhythm of your movements, and in seconds they decide whether to follow or dismiss you. Respect is not given to those who demand it, it's given to those who embody it. And the body speaks long before the mouth does. So if you've ever felt invisible, interrupted, or overlooked, it's not because people hate you, it's because your body has been silently teaching them to. Respect is never requested, it's engineered, and the first secret begins with your eyes. This is the first body language secret, the eyes. The human eye is not just an organ of sight, it's a weapon of perception. The gaze is the oldest signal of power on Earth. Animals lock eyes to establish dominance. Those who look away first surrender the hierarchy. You've felt this instinct before. Someone looked at you too long, and your body wanted to break contact. You felt the need to fidget, smile, or look elsewhere. That's not shyness, that's submission. Your nervous system recognizes hierarchy faster than your intellect. It knows who stands above and who folds beneath. And in the social jungle, the man who can hold his gaze longer than others is the one who commands the tribe without words. Calm, unwavering eye contact is not about aggression, it's about control. Aggression is wild, control is surgical. The man who stares without blinking may look insane, but the man who observes without flinching looks sovereign. When you lock eyes with someone, your goal is not to intimidate, it's to communicate one thing: I am not moved. You see, people break eye contact for one of 2 reasons: fear or guilt. When you maintain your gaze steady and slow, you reveal neither. You become unreadable, and unreadable men are terrifying. They force others to question themselves, to wonder what you're thinking, what you know, what you're capable of. Your calmness becomes their anxiety, your silence becomes their noise. But control of the eyes begins within. You cannot project steadiness if your mind trembles. When your thoughts race, your eyes flicker. When your ego fears judgment, your pupils dart. Every micro-movement betrays you. That's why the first exercise of dominance is internal stillness. Before you enter a room, anchor your breathing, slow it. Let your body settle into the weight of your presence. When you meet someone's eyes, do not scan, do not search, observe, hold, let them feel the pause. People are unnerved by silence because it exposes them. When you give them the quiet of your gaze, they start talking more to fill it. And the more they talk, the more you learn. Power, therefore, is not in speaking, it's in waiting. Your eyes are not just for seeing, they are mirrors that force others to see themselves. When you look at someone, you're not just looking at them, you're making them confront how they appear in your world. Most people are addicted to validation, desperate to be seen. But when your gaze withholds approval, they chase it. That's the paradox of power. The less you give, the more they want it. The secret is not to look into people, but through them. Don't study their features, study their reactions. Are they holding your gaze or breaking it? Do they smile nervously? Do they touch their face? Every gesture is a confession. The eyes of a master are not emotional, they are diagnostic. A calm gaze also rewires your reputation over time. The one who never looks away becomes the one others think twice before deceiving. It creates an aura of precision. People sense that you notice things they don't. You make them aware of their own imperfections. They adjust their words around you. They self-censor. This is how authority is born. Not by shouting, not by posturing, but by presence that disciplines others without effort. And once they feel this discipline, respect follows naturally, even from those who dislike you, because fear of being seen through is stronger than the desire to be liked. Do not confuse the steady gaze with staring contests or arrogance. Those are the tools of amateurs. The professional of power uses subtlety. When you walk into a room, let your eyes move slowly, not in panic, not in curiosity, but as if the room belongs to you already. Hold each face for half a second longer than normal, just enough to make them aware of your attention. The brain interprets prolonged attention as higher status. Every glance becomes a small assertion of control. You are silently claiming territory, moment by moment. Even when you're silent, people feel you watching, and that awareness bends their behavior toward your favor. In negotiation, in leadership, in seduction, this is the first law. Control the gaze, and you control the frame. Your eyes can soften a command or harden a request. They can comfort or interrogate. They can draw someone closer or make them step back. Every relationship is a dance of vision. Whoever controls where the other looks, controls where the other goes. That's why kings sat on elevated thrones, not to be comfortable, but to control perspective. The higher you are, the more eyes must look up to meet yours. That angle alone creates deference. In the same way, when you hold your head high and your eyes steady, even equals begin to tilt subconsciously. Their bodies reveal what their words conceal: submission. Respect doesn't begin when people hear your name. It begins when they feel your eyes on them. The eyes communicate confidence, awareness, and self-certainty. When you stop blinking excessively, when your gaze doesn't dart or plead, when you can remain silent and composed under scrutiny, you cease to be just another participant in conversation. You become the one they measure themselves against. Every glance you give becomes currency. Every second of eye contact, an invisible handshake of hierarchy. So ask yourself, when someone meets your eyes, do they feel your presence or your permission? This is the second body language secret, the stillness. Movement reveals need. The more a man fidgets, adjusts, laughs too quickly, or gestures without purpose, the more he communicates uncertainty. Stillness, on the other hand, is the language of control. It tells the room that you do not chase rhythm, you set it. That you are not reacting to the environment reacts to you. Every predator in nature understands this law. The lion doesn't move until it must. The moment it does, every creature nearby feels the tension of inevitability. The same law applies to human power. Those who move the least are watched the most, because their restraint suggests they hold more within than they release. The nervous man cannot stop moving because he fears silence. He believes motion protects him from judgment. He taps his fingers, adjusts his shirt, shifts his weight. All these are unconscious apologies for existing. Each micro-movement tells the crowd, I'm uncertain, please don't judge me too harshly. But the powerful man doesn't play that game. His stillness provokes judgment and welcomes it. He doesn't need to prove ease or friendliness. He allows the silence to test others while he remains unshaken. That contrast, the calm amid noise, is what breeds respect. When chaos erupts, people look toward the one who is still, because stillness signals certainty, and certainty is mistaken for leadership. To master stillness, you must first master discomfort. Your body wants to escape tension. It wants to move when eyes are on you. But that instinct is precisely what gives your power away. The longer you can remain physically motionless while being observed, the more your presence expands in their perception. You become the calm center of their storm. And here's the paradox. By doing less, you create more. Every second you resist unnecessary motion, you force others to project meaning onto you. They begin to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're waiting for. Their minds fill the silence with stories that elevate you. The still man becomes myth because the world cannot stand emptiness. It must decorate it with significance. Think of a general in a war room. Everyone around him shuffles papers, argues, paces. He stands unmoving, his hands folded behind his back, his eyes locked on the map. That image alone commands deference. Stillness in a world addicted to noise is interpreted as confidence. You appear detached from urgency, above the scramble. The world respects what it cannot rush. The moment you start mirroring the pace of others, you descend into their rank. To lead, you must slow down reality around you. Stillness is not passive, it's gravitational. It pulls the attention of others without demand. It makes them feel you are not bound by the same nerves that govern them. When you move, every gesture should be deliberate. A turn of the head, a shift of stance, even the act of reaching for an object, all must look considered, unhurried, inevitable. That's what unnerves people about those who command respect. Their timing feels orchestrated. You never see them in between decisions. You only see the final motion. It's as if every move was chosen hours before the conversation began. This level of composure is rare, and rarity breeds reverence. People may not consciously notice it, but they feel it. They sense something ancient and dangerous in your calm, as if they are in the presence of a force that acts only when necessary. To achieve this, study your own habits in silence. Notice how often you touch your face, your phone, your hair. Each habit is a leak of authority. Every unconscious motion reveals insecurity. Begin replacing them with still pauses. When you're tempted to fidget, breathe. When you want to nod excessively in conversation, stop. Let the other person sit in uncertainty. People crave micro-reassurances, small signs that you agree, that you understand, that you yield. Remove those and watch how their anxiety grows. They start chasing validation from your silence. They explain themselves more. They talk faster. They give away information you didn't ask for. Stillness isn't just power, it's intelligence gathering. Those who master stillness can dominate without speaking. In conflict, the loud one is losing composure. The still one is controlling outcome. In negotiation, the restless one gives away pressure points. The motionless one becomes a mirror that reflects the other's insecurity. In attraction, the one who fidgets appears needy. The one who remains calm becomes mysterious. Stillness is a test. It shows who is truly self-possessed and who is enslaved by emotion. Most people flinch at discomfort. Few can stare through it. Those who can hold themselves perfectly still under tension hold others without effort. But there's something deeper here. Stillness is not merely the absence of movement. It's the presence of awareness. The man who can remain still has confronted his own chaos. He has learned to be at peace with the noise inside his head. That's why others respect him. They feel that he is not only composed outwardly, but sovereign inwardly. His energy doesn't leak. His control is not a performance, it's a reflection of inner architecture. When you reach this level, your presence begins to alter the emotional climate of every room you enter. People lower their voices around you. They hesitate before interrupting you. They feel that stillness, and they instinctively adjust. So when you stand among others, ask yourself, are you commanding the moment or compensating for it? This is the third body language secret, the space. Power isn't only in how you move, it's in how much territory your presence claims. The weak shrink. They fold into corners, cross their arms, pull their energy inward as if apologizing for existing. The strong expand. They occupy the room not by arrogance, but by quiet certainty. Space is psychological before it's physical. It begins with how you believe you deserve to exist among others. The man who feels inferior makes himself small even when no one tells him to. The man who knows his worth takes space naturally, as if it were gravity's duty to yield. People sense this invisible claim instantly. They don't know why they feel it, but they do. They step around him. They give him room. They wait before speaking. You can watch this law anywhere, in boardrooms, classrooms, restaurants. The hierarchy is visible before a single word is spoken. Those with low status huddle together, their bodies angled inward. The dominant ones lean back, arms relaxed, feet planted wide, claiming invisible boundaries that others dare not cross. This unspoken geometry dictates who leads and who follows. If you want respect, you must master spatial ownership. It doesn't require aggression, it requires permission. Not theirs, yours. Most people wait for the world to make them comfortable enough to expand. The powerful decide they belong wherever they stand. Their posture says, I have nothing to prove and nothing to fear. Observe how the powerful man uses space. He stands upright, shoulders slightly back, chest open, not inflated, but unguarded. His feet are firmly planted, never close together, because closeness signals uncertainty. He gestures with ease, never timid, never exaggerated. When he sits, he takes his time, creating a sense that the world must adjust to his rhythm. His movements define the boundaries of the interaction. This is what owning space truly means. You become the axis around which others orbit. Even when seated in a small chair, the confident man somehow makes the area around him feel larger. His presence expands to fill silence. His awareness commands attention without motion. But understand this, owning space is not about physical size or intimidation. It's about emotional permission. Some of the most commanding figures in history were not large men, but they radiated certainty so powerful that others rearranged themselves to accommodate it. Napoleon was not tall, yet rooms curved around his focus. Machiavelli himself observed that the ruler's presence bends perception. It's not the sword that secures the throne, but the aura that precedes it. When you claim space, you announce that you are not prey. You're no longer scanning for threats or seeking approval. You exist as if the environment already belongs to you. And because most people are too afraid to act that way, they unconsciously accept your claim. There's also a deeper layer, how you manage distance between yourself and others. Stand too close, and you signal neediness or aggression. Stand too far, and you signal submission or fear. The master of space knows how to adjust that distance precisely to control emotional tone. When you enter a room, gauge the collective rhythm. Move slower than everyone else. Pause before approaching anyone. Let the world adjust to your pace. This delay establishes control. It tells others you are not in a hurry to be accepted. When you do approach, do so at an angle, not directly. It projects subtle dominance, the way a wolf approaches the pack, not as an intruder but as an equal who commands awareness. When you finally speak, your proximity reinforces your authority. You do not lean in to be heard, others lean closer to you. Learn to protect your personal radius. Never allow others to invade it without purpose. Weak men tolerate intrusion because they fear conflict. Strong men enforce boundaries without a word. If someone gets too close, a simple backward step, calm, unbothered, reclaims your space instantly. You don't need to glare, you don't need to scold. The body does the talking. People feel the difference between retreat and recalibration. The former says, "I'm intimidated." The latter says, "You're within my awareness, not my concern." When others learn this invisible rule, respect naturally follows. They may not understand why they hesitate around you, but they will. The body reads what the mind ignores. Even in solitude, space remains part of your power. The way you stand in line, sit in a cafe, or walk through a hallway reveals your sense of self. The world notices the man who walks as if the air bends around him, not because of ego, but because his presence has direction. Space follows intention. When you move with clear intent, people instinctively make room for you. When you drift without aim, they bump into you without apology. Claiming space begins with claiming purpose. The two cannot be separated. To cultivate this presence, practice slowing down in public. Enter rooms as though the world pauses to observe. Don't rush through doors. Pause, scan, then proceed. Walk with measured rhythm, shoulders back, eyes soft but steady. When you sit, don't fold yourself in half to fit. Unfold the space around you. Every gesture should suggest patience, not pressure. The message is simple. I'm comfortable being seen, but I don't need your attention. That balance, calm visibility without desperation, is what draws respect. People fear those who seem independent of external approval, because it reminds them how enslaved they are to it. Space is not a battlefield, it's a throne. You don't fight for it, you inhabit it. You rule not by volume, but by gravity. The man who owns space changes how others breathe around him. Their words slow, their tone softens, their posture shifts. They sense the unspoken hierarchy you've built with nothing more than posture, patience, and self-certainty. That is the silent empire of respect, territory carved from energy, not force. So ask yourself, when you enter a room, does your presence expand or disappear? This is the fourth body language secret, the voice. Most people believe respect is earned through argument, but the truth is simpler. Your tone wins before your logic does. The human ear is ancient. It responds not to words, but to emotional frequency. Before anyone decides whether to trust, fear, or follow you, their nervous system makes that decision based on how your voice feels. Power is not about volume, it's about composure. The man who speaks slowly, with deliberate pacing and depth, infects the room with his rhythm. The one who rushes, fills silence, or lets his pitch climb under pressure, gives away his authority instantly. Speech is not just sound, it's a vibration of certainty, and people trust certainty more than truth. The voice of power doesn't beg to be heard, it makes others want to listen. When you lower your tone, slow your cadence, and leave deliberate pauses, you give weight to your words. Each silence becomes a moment of gravity. The brain interprets slow speech as confidence and rapid speech as insecurity. Why? Because confidence has time. The weak rush to prove themselves before they're interrupted. The strong assume no one dares interrupt them. The difference is microscopic, but people feel it immediately. Watch any room. When a man speaks with calm rhythm, others unconsciously adjust their breathing to match. He becomes the metronome of the moment. That's leadership disguised as tone. Control of the voice begins with control of emotion. Anger tightens it. Fear raises it. Anxiety fractures it. Before you speak, you must command your breathing. Most men breathe shallowly from the chest. Their words sound forced and uncertain. The powerful breathe from the diaphragm, deep, grounded, resonant. They let silence stretch before they respond, allowing their words to settle into the air like anchors. Even a single sentence, delivered with poise and quiet conviction, outweighs paragraphs spoken in haste. Silence, after all, is the ultimate amplifier. When you can pause without fear, others interpret that stillness as mastery. They lean in, they wait, they begin to follow your timing. A Machiavellian mind uses the voice as a scalpel, not a hammer. It can wound gently or inspire devotion. The same words whispered in the right tone become commands disguised as suggestions. This is the art of tonal power, making people feel your certainty rather than hear it. The great leaders of history, Caesar, Churchill, Mandela, did not just speak, they sculpted air. Their voices carried rhythm, texture, patience. You could hear in them the refusal to be hurried, the unspoken declaration that they already knew the outcome. This is what your voice must communicate: inevitability. When you speak, others must feel that your words are not guesses, they're forecasts. To train this, begin with silence. Spend days observing how much of your speech is filler, unnecessary laughter, quick affirmations, verbal clutter. Remove them. Let the weight of your words increase by scarcity. Speak less, but mean more. When you respond, drop your tone by half a note. Speak from the ground, not the throat. Every time you're tempted to fill silence, breathe instead. The one who masters pauses dominates interactions, because silence is the only language the insecure cannot endure. They rush to fill it, exposing themselves. You, meanwhile, remain composed, watching them betray their need for approval with every unnecessary word. The voice also carries moral authority, or the illusion of it. People instinctively equate steadiness with truth. If your tone is calm while theirs trembles, they'll start to doubt themselves even when they're right. In negotiation, this is lethal. A calm tone makes others question their own positions. They begin to explain, justify, apologize, and the more they speak, the more they reveal. In argument, it's not the loudest who wins, but the one whose tone never changes. When emotion floods the other side, maintain neutrality, not coldness, but controlled warmth. This contrast disarms aggression. It forces your opponent to meet you on your rhythm, not theirs. Your voice should be an atmosphere, not an act. People should feel something shift when you begin to speak. Your rhythm should slow the pulse of the room. Your tone should steady conversation. Even when you say little, the memory of your sound should linger, as though your presence remains in the air. That's the power of sonic stillness. Those who can make others remember how they felt when they heard you, those are the ones who command without raising a hand. The voice is the leash of the human mind. It can tighten gently or let go completely, but only those who can control its rhythm ever deserve to hold it. The final mastery is learning when not to speak. The voice is strongest when paired with restraint. Every silence should feel intentional, as if your words are stored behind a gate only you hold the key to. When you finally decide to speak, people should feel privileged to hear it. That scarcity builds reverence. Power speaks last. Power waits. Power doesn't chase understanding. It lets others chase interpretation. That's how respect is built, not from noise, but from the echoes left after you stop talking. So tell me, when you open your mouth, do people fall silent or simply wait for their turn to speak? This is the fifth body language secret, the gesture. The hands are extensions of the mind, visible reflections of confidence, intent, and truth. Most people speak with frantic motion, unaware that every twitch, wave, or tap exposes their nervous system to the world. They think gesturing makes them expressive, but in reality, it makes them transparent. The more you move without purpose, the more you tell the crowd that you need their attention. But the man who moves his hands deliberately, sparingly, with precision, he doesn't beg attention, he commands it. Every gesture becomes a punctuation mark of authority. The audience begins to feel that every motion he makes carries meaning, and meaning is what people crave. Your hands betray your mind's restlessness. When you feel inferior, they fidget, clasp, hide in pockets, or cross defensively. This instinct is ancient. It's the body's way of protecting itself, but protection always looks like weakness. The man who hides his hands is subconsciously saying, "I am not confident enough to expose my intentions." The great paradox of power is that concealment of motion creates suspicion, while mastery of motion creates magnetism. When your hands are calm and visible, palms open but steady. You communicate security. You're saying, I control myself, therefore I control this interaction. The body always reveals hierarchy, and the hands are its most honest servants. The art of gesturing begins with stillness. You move only when your words demand emphasis. When you speak of weight, your hands move slowly downward. When you describe vision, your hands rise with steadiness. But never flutter, never rush. Each gesture must appear born of thought, not habit. The great orators of history, Julius Caesar, Marcus Aurelius, Churchill, understood that the hand could command armies or silence nations. They didn't wave, they sculpted air. Their gestures were few, but precise. They gave the illusion that even the air around them obeyed. When you speak, imagine your hands as extensions of authority, not decoration. They direct attention, they frame your ideas, they make your presence tactile. The weak use gestures to fill silence. The strong use silence to frame gestures. Every unnecessary motion dilutes your presence. Every deliberate one magnifies it. In conversation, allow your hands to rest naturally, one hand loosely over the other, or fingertips gently touching. When you move, make it slow, rhythmic, synchronized with speech. When you point, do not jab. When you emphasize, do not flail. Subtlety is terrifying because it forces focus. People lean in to decode you, and in that decoding, they surrender attention. Power lies in that surrender. The fewer movements you make, the more significance each carries. By the time you raise your hand, the room already feels the weight of what's coming. But gesture is not only about control, it's also about coherence. Your body must match your message. If your words are firm but your hands tremble, no one believes the words. If your words are calm but your hands plead, you've already lost command. The Machiavellian principle here is congruence. When mind and body align, belief follows automatically. People don't analyze your truth, they feel it. Their brains scan for contradiction. If none is found, they submit. This is why trained leaders rehearse not just speeches but gestures. Each motion becomes part of their identity, a visual language of control. You don't earn respect through correctness, you earn it through coherence. Gestures also set emotional tone. A slow, open palm signals authority and reason. A sudden, sharp gesture signals force and tension. Both can be used, but only intentionally. A ruler who never moves appears detached, but one who moves with cold precision feels divine. Remember, people trust rhythm more than content. Your hands must follow the beat of command, not chaos. When you raise them deliberately. When you lower them, do it as if the action itself carries consequence. Your gestures must echo finality, not uncertainty. They must say, I've decided, even when your words say, I'm considering. Learn the secret of symmetry. Keep your gestures balanced, flowing from your center. Wild, asymmetrical motion breaks harmony. It shows you're ruled by impulse. But symmetrical, centered movement calms the viewer's nervous system and invites compliance. Watch statues of kings and conquerors. Their hands are either calm or decisive, never confused. The same visual law governs human instinct today. We worship steadiness because it signals dominance. People don't consciously realize it, but they associate measured movement with mastery over chaos. And mastery, whether real or perceived, always commands obedience. In social hierarchies, the one who moves less always outranks the one who compensates. The confident use gestures like signatures, rarely but with unmistakable certainty. They never mimic, they never rush. They make space for silence before and after each motion, allowing tension to bloom and settle. The result is hypnotic. People can't look away because your every action feels intentional. That's the secret of the powerful body. They never seem unsure about where their limbs belong. Every inch of them feels claimed. Every motion feels paid for. Your gestures, then, are not ornaments, they're declarations. Each one announces your self-possession. When you finally move, people understand it means something. That's why the most dangerous men appear relaxed. They've eliminated wasted motion. They don't need to gesture to be understood. They use presence as punctuation. So when you next speak, ask yourself, are your hands amplifying your command or apologizing for your existence? This is the sixth body language secret, the head. The position of your head is the crown of your posture. It announces hierarchy before your words ever can. The angle of your chin, the tilt of your gaze, the stillness of your neck, each micro movement tells others who commands and who conforms. Watch any animal kingdom footage, and you'll see the same truth play out. The dominant lifts its head calmly, surveying the horizon. The submissive lowers it, guarding the throat. Humans are no different. The man who constantly looks down, nods excessively, or tilts his head in agreement is silently saying, "I yield." The one who holds it level, slightly elevated but never strained, says, "I observe." The difference between these two is not anatomy, it's sovereignty. The head governs perception because it directs the line of vision. Wherever your eyes point, your mind follows, and so do the eyes of others. The one who holds his head steady becomes the axis of attention. Those who tilt, bob, or overexpress lose gravitas. Movement at the head level reveals emotional turbulence. Stability communicates calm control. When you keep your head still while others speak, you project listening without surrender. You create the sense that you are watching from a higher plane, judging from above rather than participating below. This subtle vertical dynamic is ancient, the psychological echo of the throne. People instinctively respect elevation, not because it's physical, but because it signals command over one's own reactions. The chin is your silent flag. Too high, and you project arrogance or defiance. Too low, and you project timidity or guilt. The perfect position is one of calm readiness, straight, balanced, unwavering. This posture tells the subconscious of your audience that you are neither pleading nor competing. You are present. When you speak, avoid excessive nodding. Most people nod not to show understanding, but to beg acceptance. They fear disapproval, so their head performs submission while their mouth speaks confidence. This contradiction destroys credibility. The Machiavellian knows better. His head moves minimally, if at all. When he nods, it is once deliberate final. When he tilts, it's to signal acknowledgement, not agreement. The stillness of his skull becomes its own kind of authority. The head also governs how you absorb tension. In confrontation, the weak shrink inward, pulling the neck back or down, revealing discomfort. The strong do the opposite. They elongate slightly, exposing the neck but locking the spine. It's not aggression, it's defiance refined by control. A raised chin under fire communicates fearlessness. It says, "Strike if you must, I won't flinch." This posture alone has ended arguments, subdued tempers, and silenced insults. Because when the body doesn't react, the aggressor loses his mirror. Conflict thrives on reflection. When you give none, it dies. The still head, calm and forward, becomes a wall. You don't meet chaos with chaos, you smother it with composure. Think of how kings, soldiers, and statues are depicted. Always with the head upright, eyes level, expression unreadable. There's a reason portraits of power never show the face tilted down or to the side. Angles weaken the frame. Straightness declares immortality. When you walk, keep your head aligned with your spine. Never lead with your forehead. It signals subservience and curiosity. Never let it dangle or sway. It suggests lack of direction. Let it glide above your body like a compass that already knows the way. When you enter a room, your head should arrive first, not by movement, but by intent. Every turn of your face should feel calculated, as if you're aware of what deserves your attention and what doesn't. That restraint in awareness is hypnotic. It tells the world you are selective with focus, and selectivity is the ultimate display of value. The head also controls the emotional energy of your expressions. When you smile too often, you forfeit respect for relatability. When your eyebrows dance at every sentence, you signal need for connection. Learn to neutralize expression without becoming cold. Let your resting face reflect poise, softened eyes, closed lips, slight tension in the jaw. This balance tells others you are approachable, but not penetrable. Your neutrality makes people project meaning onto you, and projection is the birthplace of influence. They will see what they want to see. Wisdom, mystery, danger, and you, unmoved, let them. The still head gives the imagination room to worship. Posture begins from the spine but ends at the crown. Your head is the throne of your identity. How you carry it dictates how others carry themselves around you. Tilt it wrongly, and the room feels superior. Hold it correctly, and they instinctively adjust downward. This isn't arrogance, it's geometry. Respect, like gravity, follows alignment. The more upright you are, the more others bend without realizing it. But this alignment must be authentic. Fake posture collapses under time. You must internalize the belief that you belong in every room, that your gaze deserves to meet the horizon. Then the head follows the belief, and the world follows the head. When others speak, do not nod away your power. Hold their gaze from that still elevation, neither encouraging nor resisting, just witnessing. Let them feel the weight of being seen by someone who doesn't need their approval. This unnerves even the proud. It forces them to reevaluate their tone, their stance, their confidence. They adjust upward or downward, and in doing so, reveal their level. You, meanwhile, remain steady, silent, unmoved. That is command, achieved not through words, but through balance. So tell me, when you lift your head, does the world rise to meet your eyes, or do you still look for someone to look up to? This is the seventh body language secret, the walk. Every step you take is a declaration of how you see yourself. The world studies your movement long before it listens to your voice. Your walk tells people whether you're a man who belongs or a man who's begging to. Watch how the powerful move, never rushed, never searching, never apologizing. Their stride is measured, balanced, and precise. They walk as if time itself will wait for them. The powerless move differently. They hurry, weaving between people, scanning for validation, shrinking to avoid attention. They don't realize the tragedy of motion, that the faster you move, the less others respect your presence. Because motion in nature is either predation or panic. And unless you are hunting, the one who rushes is the one running from something. The walk of power begins with rhythm. The body should move as if each step is connected to a deeper internal beat. Slow, steady, inevitable. The feet glide, not shuffle. The spine stays aligned, not swinging like a pendulum. Shoulders remain relaxed, arms close but not rigid. Each step carries the weight of decision, not reaction. When you walk this way, people subconsciously step aside. It's not that you force them, it's that your body projects inevitability. You are not asking for passage, you are claiming it. Those who move with intention create invisible corridors of authority wherever they go. The world rearranges itself around them, the way the ocean parts around a ship's bow. The secret to the walk is restraint. Weak men overcompensate with exaggerated swagger, fast pace, or theatrical confidence. They confuse noise with power. True dominance needs no announcement. Your gait should convey one message: you are not in a hurry, because everything is already under control. Even in danger, the composed walk disarms chaos. It tells onlookers he knows where he's going. The great strategist never runs, he calculates. The lion never rushes to the kill, it approaches, certain that prey cannot escape. This is what your steps must say. That calm is not comfort, it's command. Pay attention to the transition points. The moment you enter a room, cross a street, or approach a group, most people lose composure during transitions. They hesitate at doors, glance around, adjust their clothes, betray awareness of being watched. These small leaks destroy authority. The Machiavellian enters like the room was built around him. He doesn't stop or slow, he merges with the space as if returning to what was already his. His stride doesn't change when eyes turn to him, it deepens. That continuity, that refusal to react, separates rulers from subjects. When you move without permission, the world grants it automatically. Your direction must always be clear. Nothing kills presence like aimless wandering. The powerful walk with destination even when the destination doesn't exist. They move like they're going somewhere important, even if it's only to think. Direction is psychological territory. The moment others sense you have purpose, they categorize you above them. The purposeless drift becomes invisible. The purposeful dominate the frame. People may not understand what drives you, but they feel driven by your momentum. Never pace back and forth. Never circle. Move in clean, decisive lines. When you stop, do so like punctuation, not hesitation. Movement should feel like a statement, not a question. Even the sound of your steps carries meaning. The heavy, hurried stomp signals frustration. The faint, nervous shuffle signals fear. But the balanced, steady rhythm, audible but unhurried, becomes hypnotic. It anchors your presence in the minds of those who hear it. They know when you're near, and that awareness alone reshapes their behavior. In ancient courts, generals and kings were announced not by trumpets, but by footsteps that everyone recognized. That's how presence is built, through repetition of composed movement until your arrival becomes an event. When you approach someone, the pace of your steps should dictate theirs. Most people accelerate or decelerate to match whoever they approach, signaling subconscious deference. The Machiavellian never matches rhythm. He holds his pace, forcing others to adjust. That's the subtle dominance of motion. Whoever sets the rhythm leads. Even in conversation, this applies. If they walk faster, slow down. If they slow, keep steady. You're training the environment to orbit your tempo. Over time, people begin to mirror you unconsciously. They breathe when you breathe, move when you move. This is how power spreads, not by command, but by calibration. The walk also carries memory. The way you move tells your history, whether you were raised in confidence or chaos. Every insecurity becomes visible through hesitation. That's why you must rewrite your story through movement. Walk daily with intention. Feel your weight grounded through your heels, not scattered through your toes. Let your chest open, your chin level, your eyes soft but fixed ahead. Never dart your gaze while walking. You are not scanning for threat, you are the threat. Keep your steps consistent, like an internal drumbeat of calm. Over time, your nervous system begins to believe the story your body tells, and others will follow that belief. When mastered, your walk becomes prophecy. People sense that you are moving towards something larger than they can see. They feel, without understanding, that your destination exists beyond their world. This is why soldiers follow commanders into uncertainty, because their leaders move like men who already know the ending. Walk with that kind of inevitability. Each step should whisper, "I am where I'm meant to be." Not loud, not proud, simply true. So tell me, when you walk into the world, does the ground seem to move for you, or are you still asking for space to pass? This is the 8th and final body language secret, the presence. Everything you've learned, the eyes, the stillness, the space, the voice, the gesture, the head, the walk, culminates here. Presence is the invisible field your body projects before you even enter a room. It's not something you do, it's something you become. Presence is what others feel when your energy, control, and awareness merge into one seamless force. It is power stripped of performance. The irony is that most men chase presence through theatrics, louder tone, broader gestures, bolder clothing. But the ones who truly command respect emit it without effort. They carry silence like armor, patience like a weapon, and composure like a crown. You can sense them before you see them. And when you finally meet their eyes, you already know they're not looking for your validation, they're measuring your worth. Presence begins with energy management. Every person radiates a signal, an emotional frequency that others instinctively pick up. The anxious vibrate at chaos. The arrogant at insecurity disguised as confidence. The composed emit steadiness. The powerful emit gravity. You can feel it in the air when they enter. The temperature shifts, the rhythm slows, the noise softens. People recalibrate subconsciously. That's the true definition of presence. The ability to alter emotional climate through sheer self-control. You do not need to announce it. You need only exist within your frame, unshaken. The one who cannot be moved emotionally becomes the one who moves others effortlessly. To cultivate this, you must first understand tension. Presence is not relaxation, it's control of pressure. A man with no tension is invisible. A man with too much collapses under it. The ideal balance is what Machiavelli called measured danger, the quiet suggestion that behind your calm lies force. You maintain a composed face, but your stillness carries weight. It's the reason why predators fascinate us. Their silence implies capability. When people sense that you could explode but choose not to, respect blooms. They fear the storm you never unleash. Presence, therefore, is contained power, a volcano pretending to be a mountain. Energy leaks through fidgeting, through over-explaining, through the smallest betrayals of impatience. Every unnecessary movement says, "I need release." The man with presence never seeks release. He holds energy, recycles it, owns it. When he feels anger, he doesn't react. His body absorbs it like stone absorbing thunder. When he feels fear, he breathes deeper. His control unnerves people because it reveals contrast. Most are slaves to their impulses. He stands as proof that freedom exists. That kind of composure breaks people without confrontation. They feel small around it, not because he diminishes them, but because he reminds them of their own lack of mastery. Presence is also awareness, total consciousness of your body, surroundings, and effect on others. Weak men are self-conscious, strong men are self-aware. The difference is direction of focus. Self-consciousness looks inward, worrying about perception. Self-awareness looks outward, observing dynamics. When you enter a room, your goal is not to perform, it's to perceive. Notice who leads, who follows, who imitates. Notice the rhythm of conversation, the tone shifts, the glances exchanged. You're not trying to dominate, you're diagnosing. The man who sees the invisible rules the visible. Awareness turns you into an emotional strategist, and presence turns that strategy into silent influence. To embody this, train yourself to lower your internal noise. Before you walk into any room, exhale the urge to impress. Let go of performance. Feel the ground beneath your feet, straighten your spine, slow your pulse. Every inhale draws focus inward. Every exhale releases need. Then move slowly, deliberately, without apology. When you speak, make it sparse. When you listen, make it complete. When you stand still, make it eternal. Presence is not in the motion, it's in the pause between them. That pause is where respect grows. Because in a world addicted to speed, the man who slows time controls it. You'll know you've mastered presence when people begin to adjust themselves around you without realizing it. They speak softer. They justify their words. They straighten their posture. Some may even feel uncomfortable without knowing why. That discomfort is your shadow, your unspoken pressure. They feel it because your energy holds the mirror to their chaos. Presence doesn't entertain, doesn't chase, doesn't over-explain. It simply is. The moment you stop proving yourself, your aura begins to do the work. Others will feel compelled to measure up or move aside, and both outcomes serve you. Presence is not the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. You cannot fake calmness. The body always betrays pretense. So instead of pretending to be powerful, train yourself to be peaceful. True power is quiet, because it has nothing to defend. The lion doesn't roar to prove it's king. It roars to remind the jungle of order. Likewise, your energy should not demand attention. It should command it through inevitability. Respect, after all, is not submission to your strength. It's surrender to your balance. When you have presence, you don't enter rooms, you shift them. People look up, not because they're told to, but because something in their instincts recognizes stability. You become a fixed point in a spinning world. Others orbit you, not because you pull them, but because your gravity makes drifting impossible. That is the final stage of silent influence. No noise, no display, no struggle, only control so refined it looks like peace. So tell me, when you walk into silence, does it wait for you to speak, or does it already know who you are? If you've made it this far, it's because a part of you already knows this truth. Respect is not given, it's extracted through presence, silence, and control. The body never lies, and the one who masters stillness controls every room he enters. Now tell me in the comments, are you ready to command respect without words, to make others yield without force? Are you willing to become the man who never needs to prove anything, because his presence says it all? If this message touched you, if it made sense, write in the comments, "I move with power." Let's see how many here are truly ready to embody quiet dominance. And don't forget, keep watching the next video. It's important. Much more than you imagine. See you there.